installation of the door hold. We want to first decide where we're going to put the door hold. Now I'm going to install mine above the middle hinge, and because I can easily reach it. But these are great for people that are in wheelchairs and that type of thing. You can install this down below, and they can actually open the door and push the button to hold the door open, so they can come through in their wheelchair without the door having to keep slamming against them. But I am going to install this up above here, like so. So the important thing is that the center of this button is the hinge point for these two wings. And so it has to line up with the center of this hinge pin. You'll find this in the directions. So when we install this, the center, once that's located, the center of this button is going to be directly over top the center of the hinge pin. Now I'm going to go to the other side of the door and show you how we begin installation. You'll notice we talked before about how we wanted to find out where we wanted to put it. Well, I just put a piece of tape here so I know how high to put the top of the wing so that it's in the proper position. Remember I said it's important that this lines up with the center of that pin. We can see there, this slot is the first screw that we're going to use. I'm going to slide this up to there, and I'm going to watch this here. Slide gives me adjustment. So I notice how far it is from here to there so that I can just get a screw hole started. I'm going to keep that gap about the same. See right there? I'm going to grab my awl, and I'm going to put a hole in the middle of the slot. It doesn't have to be up and down so perfect right now because we're just getting it mounted where it's going to go, and then everything else will adjust. Okay, now I pick up my 7/64 drill bit, and we're going to drill in as perpendicular and as horizontal to the door as we can for the first screw. Then we're going to take our screw gun or a screwdriver, and we're going to take the door hold and we're going to put it up on the door like so, and we're going to put this screw in and just get it to where it holds it. We're not going to snug it up tight. Now I'm going to switch sides now and show you how we make sure that it's perfectly in line with that hinge pin. So what you want is that the center of this pin, the button, and the center of that button to be the exact same distance from the door as the center of this hinge pin is. So I'm going to get back there and I'm going to tweak this thing back and forth. I have the screws loosened enough to where I can just shove it around a little bit and it'll stay in place. Then go around and tighten up the screws and then put the other two screws in and we'll be done. So again, center line, and do this as exact as you can. This button in center, the same measurement as this one up here too. Exactly the same distance. Make sure you keep your tape flat on the door for both measurements. I'll see you on the other side. So we come back from the other side and we know it's perfectly perpendicular, so I just put my awl mark in that place. Then we're going to pilot that hole. And then we're going to put that screw in. Now I was very careful to make sure when I put that screw in, or that pilot bit, that it was dead center. When I put that all in there, I made sure it was dead center in that hole. I don't want this to shift because on the other side I made this in the center line with the center of line that, with the center line of that. I got it as close as I could by just sliding it back and forth and tilting it just right. Now I'm going to put that screw in and just barely snug it up. You don't want to shift too much. You want to leave it some room so once we get the other screws in, we have a little bit of flex and adjustment room before we tighten the screws home. We're going to flip this open. This is the part that goes to the jamb. Now this part is really important too because you have to keep this perpendicular to that and to this at the same time. But generally using your eye and making sure that it's in line with the case molding when you put this screw in is going to keep you very close. So what I'm going to do is I want to put a screw in the slot, making sure that this stays tight, because these two pieces have to stay close together in order to work properly. So I'm going to then push this carefully. I'm going to move the weather stripping out of the way a little bit. If it's thick in your way, you want to cut that out before you do this. I'm going to push the plate to the jamb very carefully so I don't tweak everything. Then I'm going to, as carefully as I can, put that all in the middle, and then I'm going to grab the pilot bit, 7/64 again, and I'm going to run it in. Then I'm going to carefully put that screw into that slot and just barely tighten it up. Now when I did that, I could see that it shifted a little bit. So now I want to make sure that I align this up by using what I told you before, an eyeball to the case work to make sure that it's parallel. And it looks like it's pretty close. So now I'm going to go to the other side of the door. I'm not going to show you. And I'm going to go back there and just make sure that everything's lined up. I'm going to measure from here to there again on the outside of the body to make sure that that thing is still in place where it's supposed to be. Then we're going to come back and we're going to put in the final screw. Okay, we're back now, and I did the best I could to get very center on that hole because I want it to be as perfect as possible. Then I'm going to take my pilot bit, 7/64, and pilot that hole. Then I'm going to put the very last screw in it, again, just to where it pulls it up. Now I'm going to close the door, make sure that it functions properly. Then I'm going to come out and tighten these screws up. Okay, I've done that. I've went around to the other side and I made sure that it was all nice and parallel. It works perfectly. Now I'll show you how it functions here in a moment. So now I'm going to just carefully tighten these screws up to where they are nice and snug, but nowhere near close to stripping. If I just drove them home with my electric drivers, I could strip them and then you lose your holding power. So I really recommend the last tightening phase is done with a handheld screwdriver, and you will have a long-lasting permanent installation of the DoorHold. So we'll see on the inside and show you how it works. So here we are inside now. The installation is completely done. We've got all the screws tightened up, and now it's time to adjust this set screw that I talked about in the opening the package of the DoorHold. This set screw provides a safety feature that when this is engaged holding the door open, so that if somebody grabs the door and yanks on it, this bushing inside will turn and allow the door to cycle without damaging the DoorHold unit, or pull the screws out of the thing, anything like that. First, loosen the set screw all the way, so you can tell when it's loose. It doesn't take much, just turn it to. Then engage the button until it finds a location. We got lucky, fell right in the spot. Once you find that location, cycle the door back and forth a few degrees. Maybe open the door, halfway and then close it and halfway. Do it a couple times. That will center the bushing on the plunger points to the bushing in the bottom. After you've done that, then tighten up this set screw to where it's just snug. Don't over tighten it. What you want to do is tighten it just enough to where it holds the door open. Now if you have a spring-loaded hinge on, say, your garage door, or you have a door closer above that is trying to close the door, it will hold against those, but you may have to tighten this a little bit more. always just tighten it enough to overpower the spring-loaded mechanism or the door closer. So after you tighten this up, it's ready to work. Then you're back to, as you cycle the door, put a little bit of pressure on it, and it'll find the location of the stopping point. You will notice that there is a little bit of play in the door hold unit when it's engaged. The reason being is we've got 3 foot from here to there, and any kind of play here is magnified exponentially from here to the outside the door. So the door will move back and forth a few inches possibly, but it will not move any further than that. So that's it. I'll take the camera off the stand here and show you about the locations where it'll open to. But anyway, you can see it's engaged and the door is open at about 45 degrees right now. So if I want to move it, I just do that. And then say I want to close it enough for a dog to go in and out or something and not let the neighbors peek in. I just put a little pressure on until it finds a spot, and then it'll stay right there. So then to release it, just sometimes it gets a little tight because the door will put a little bit of pressure against it. So just push on the door, relieve it, and then you're free to open it. Okay, so here we are. I'm holding the camera, so it's going to be a little jostly. And I'm not going to be able to do this real easy with one hand. But here you go. The first detent location, there's 3 per 90, was right around there. So that's where the door will stay. You know, it's about that far. So push the button up. Take the pressure off the door a little bit to release the pin. Bring it back out. Put a little pressure on as the door is moving, and it'll find the detent spot for you. There it is. So then the door is open. Then if I want to keep the door open at 90, come out here, and it's locked right there. Wind will not close it. There you go. The door hold. This is universal. If you want to, you can install this to any door that swings to the left or the right. All you do is you just put this on the other side of the door. And to the jam is just opposite installation, and the button will work the same way. Push down to turn on, to hold it open, push up to release it.